What's going on, traders? Welcome back to day 23 of 25 days of trading. I appreciate you tuning in this far. If you've seen the other 22 videos, you're a real one. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't, make sure you subscribe and go back and watch those other videos when you got some time. I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like, drop a comment, and share it with a friend if you found some value in it. We got a lot of videos coming out in the new year, so this is just the short end of this series, and we'll be ramping it back up in the new year, so don't you worry. Lots more videos to come. But in this one, I want to talk about how I got my first payout with Top Step specifically. That was the first futures firm I ever went with. When we made that transition from Forex, we don't need to go into all that of how I used to trade that. But how I just got my first payout with futures in the beginning of the year. And obviously, you'll see some familiar stuff, but it's really looking at some markups, obviously, some psychology based stuff. But realistically, if you're looking for that first payout or even your second, your 10th, whatever it is, you can still apply it to your trading and make some tweaks along the way as we go over here at the monthly view of everything. If we go back to the charts here, first off, looking at trading, TradeZella, as we're pretty much done with the year, I have a couple days of trading left, right? We didn't trade too much this week, maybe partially because I'm protecting that green streak. You can see we got 14-day streak of green, and I'm matching it right now. So I finally got that on Thursday. I matched it. Now I'd like to beat it by one day or so to finish off the year. So definitely tune into future videos to see if I can get that done. But regardless, that probably did make me play a little bit more defense on Tuesday and Wednesday, not wanting to give it back and ruin it, as silly as that sounds. But regardless, still a great month so far. Going back through the calendar, I'm proud of all of it in terms of there's not really any red months. The one that was iffy was September when I just scratched and clawed 500 bucks pretty much on the last day here because I made 1.2 on the last day. So that barely made me green. Some slower months, but if you just go back here to June, one of my better months, I was on a nice streak in June, July, and August. So it's no wonder I got the payout when I did because I really found a stride of what my strategy is. We went over in a previous video of this series, I forget which one, of just the development and the evolvement of my strategy, the trades I've been taking. That even back in June, even though it wasn't that far ago, it was kind of far, a long time ago, the trades looked a little bit different. So I was really finding my stride in June and then applying it in July, August, September, and so forth. And it has brought us to where we are today. But looking at this, I already have the markups loaded up. So we don't have to go click on every square here. But this is on June 5th. Looking at it, looks like something I would have taken on December 5th. New high a day. Pull back to a key zone. You can't see it behind my camera, but it's last week's high zone. So where the hell did that come from? I don't really talk about that zone too much, and I don't really use it that much. But it is a key level that I use in this because you can see all the gray space below us looks pretty overextended if I don't see a single VWAP underneath me as maybe support of a New York, even a handoff, something, right? There's really nothing below me. So maybe I was using that to like, okay, well, at least I got that level to give me some reason that we might bounce here. Because yes, we look very bullish. I'm just riding the trend higher. Good stop loss below. And even on this one, 2 of 3 contracts off at 1R. I don't really often do that. I'm really full in or full out. And it's a 5-point stop. We haven't really been getting 5-point stops here in the fall, early winter, as we got some volatility most days. That's why I've since gone to the micros, and I'm definitely not trading minis on a 10 or 15-point stop. This is a different trade. You can even see the electronic trading hours because our opening range is kind of just floating here. But same idea of not chasing that first breakout of the open range high. Now, if you take the first break on this one, no matter how you cut it, you probably do win just because the pullback isn't too significant. That let's just say you buy it here. This might not stop you out. I don't know where you put your stop. But same thing applies. But when I'm getting in, I'm taking in the least amount of drawdown, which is the idea for taking the trade of it's the most healthy, the best price, the best timing, I think, possible of waiting to see how deep this pullback is going to be. It's still holding higher lows. We're really holding this open range high quite nicely. So maybe that's why I'm taking a smaller break of high day view up here because it's still holding clean structure above New York. You can see a news view up in play here. But same thing, just sticking to my identity. That's how you're going to get payouts. It doesn't have to be my trades. Now, of course, I'll show you my trades on ASFX TV if you go through the course Futures 2.0. But if you don't trade exactly like me, that's completely fine. But you have to trade your way consistently. It can't be some days trading like Evan, Some days trading like Austin, some days trading like James, some days trading like him, some like her. It is good to be more than one dimensional, but if you're looking for that consistency, you got to do something consistent. Surprising, shocking, I know. That if you're taking so many different setups, it's going to be tough to track, and you might be crushing on one setup, and then the next day you take something else, you give it right back. So it's going to be tough to really get that progress to make giant leaps when you're playing around and dipping your hands in too many different buckets for this first time. Trying to get your first one, right? Just try to get your first one, keep it simple. Just repeat the same thing to get that first one. And if you want to get more advanced with it and take multiple trades, you absolutely can do that. You'll see some of the trades here are a little bit different, but I'm a lot further along than many people. So I feel like I could do that, and I have warranted information and discretion and experience to try it out. This one you can see a zone again drawn, not really like a horizontal level, like a line. So I have some zone here. I'm not exactly sure what it is on this markup. Zone high from last week. That's an interesting one. Don't really use that one too often, but same thing. It's a level, very, very overextended as far as I could see. And this is late in the afternoon. This is at 3:40. So we're almost done for the day. I'm getting in a trade. This is when we had the power hour streams, probably. But regardless, very overextended in the afternoon. How can I maybe get off a key level? And you can see just stopped out because you can see the actual arrows of when I get in. That just stopped out with a stop loss at current structure taught in the course to go with previous structure. Thankfully, we were able to get back in because we're really not invalid. Oh, just tapped out. Now we're going higher. I was able to make it back. You can see the arrow up there by ADR, also on the chart. Another electronic trading hours, no big deal. This one's interesting because I like the short. This one doesn't really necessarily look like the one you see me take most now, of how I'm kind of shorting when we're still in that 15-minute opening range. Yes, we're below the blue New York VWAP. That's probably the one to focus on the most. Don't look at this yellow or purple, just for this example. The blue is New York. We get a bearish push, retest, sellers defend it, and then here's our first break outside the open range low. I don't really trade that. On ASFX TV, you'll see me avoid those. Plenty of you take them, and they do win. But how often? That normally I would see it pump out, see the pullback, sellers defend a second time, and I'd be getting in same price as this example, but just later on. So it's interesting that I shorted it that early on that day, and now it's maybe evolved to, well, I can still get the same price a little bit later on and not have to worry about maybe this pin spooking me out or even stopping me out. So that's where we are today, but it's just interesting to see that in the markup here of, I probably wasn't even trading like that in June, of waiting for that second break. It only came with time, but same thing, trading underneath all VWAPs, following the opening range low break, and then same thing, I think I took some size off and trailed. Who are you, Evan? What are you doing that for? Another one here on the upside. Obviously, we're still here in June. That was the really good month that took that first payout. We get a nice push higher. What's this black line? Opening range low. So we're trading from opening range low to opening range high. But we're following the current structure of higher highs and higher lows. Again, another power hour. Just trading it off a key level retest. Bounce play, because we're not above the high day VWAP. So a little bit different there, but trading into the open range high. It's an interesting trade, Evan. Interesting choice. All these other ones are in trend, not off the open range low or high, things like that, but a winner. This one was the most interesting one in terms of, this is kind of like a range play of how buyers are really struggling to keep us outside this opening range high. Buyers aren't showing that strength on high day breaks to really push us higher, so I'm actually shorting it above a higher day VWAP. Not really. It gets below it, but I'm still shorting it above this New York. Very ballsy, and definitely not what I tell you to do. It's very tough, but look where it comes to the daily VWAP on the electronic trading hours, because we know it could easily bounce back into trend there, that this is just building higher lows. So thankfully I got a good exit out of it. I'm not expecting it to just slice down all day, but I kind of called the pullback of saying buyers are really struggling up here. I want to sell it back down to the next key VWAP, but definitely not the cleanest. I would say this looks like Evan Dyer's trade. This could be literally in December, just off the key level, not taking the first break. The stop loss is very good on this one. Not too tight right there at the current structure, covering the previous. maybe even giving it room to retest New York if it wanted to. So there's a clean markup riding trend. But if you want to just simply put it, to have months like this or even the ones currently, every single month I go over on any of these videos, we're obviously all going to have a day or two off, but it's keeping it simple, not needing to trade so much every month, right? Plenty of empty days, plenty of break even days that you're not going to make monster home runs. Whoa, don't look at the 10th. What the hell happened? Oh, there's 16th. What the hell happened there? That was a bad one. But, anyways, going back on track, you don't need to trade every day or have monster days every single day. They'll just come naturally. If you find a hot streak, you went 3 for 3 on the day. Clean trend, your opportunities were there, and you hammered it. But that's not every day. That might be once a month, twice a month. That you need to be alive for it and around for it with fresh capital, with enough risk to put on, not burnt out because you're tired, not out of risk because you dug yourself in a drawdown. You're present, you're ready to go, and then we find that next beautiful trade. But just keep it tight, keep it consistent. If you want to get that first payout, like I said in the beginning of the video, you don't need to trade exactly like me. Obviously, I try to help you with my strategy. You can see it on ASFX TV, like I mentioned. But at the end of the day, whatever strategy you're using, keep it consistent. Try to block out all the other noise of other strategies. I want you to consume new information of how to make your strategy maybe better if you're struggling to find just winning trades with that strategy. Maybe that's not the one for you. But regardless, consistency, as simple as it sounds, you got to do it consistently. That even if you are on a losing streak for 2 weeks, keep going consistently. That's still not enough data to say this isn't working. It's only 2 weeks. Do it for a month. Do it for 2 months. Make little tweaks along the way, and then eventually keep showing up. You can get that payout maybe 4 months from now. But if you give up and you make changes or you make no changes in that first 3 months, nothing's going to happen. You have to stay consistent with something for a long period of time to see the results from it. So you need to have a strategy that you could just simply repeat. And also, I was talking about on a coaching call literally probably all of this week of find out what your best trade is. I said that in almost all the videos. Again, I try to give you mine on the course, but whatever yours is, that should give you peace of mind of, well, that's what I'm looking for. So any other noise that I'm thinking about getting in here, you have peace of mind of, well, actually, I don't need to take this because this isn't proven to be my best. So there goes the FOMO. And then I just need to wait for my best setup. And then I'm not scared it's going to lose because I have confidence in its outcomes when I identify it correctly and I take it consistently. So you're not doubting yourself in drawdown. You're not chasing moves that maybe aren't yours. You're calm, cool, collected, just taking your best setup over a long period of time. So get a nice strategy, either mine on Futures 2.0 on ASFX TV. If you're watching this, you can use code XMIS to get 25% off your first month. That'll give you access to the 2 courses, as well as the live streams to see me trade them live. Maybe not a bad idea. But regardless, I'm wishing you guys many, many payouts in 2025 for all of us. And we're just going to keep on pushing. But I appreciate you guys tuning into this series the entire month.